Hey, what's up guys? Captain Tommy Derringer here for the Florida Insider Fishing Report, coming to you from the Northeast region. Thought I'd give you a little quick fishing report and somewhat of a forecast for what's coming up here over the next month or so, or the next couple of months before the show gets started in April. You know, right now we're in towards the end of February, and it has been really cold. We've had some cold nights. Water is still really clear right now, which is one of my favorite things to do this time of year, is to get out and sight fish because we have this clear water. And it is still clear as of right now when I'm doing this video, but I think over the next couple of weeks it's going to warm up quite a bit. So we're probably going to lose some of that water clarity, and we're going to go back to doing some blind casting. But right now what we're doing is we're sight fishing for schools of redfish. That's what I've been doing all week. And I just wanted to show you guys some of the lures that we're using to catch those guys. The first one being the saltwater assassin sea shad. This one, put it up close here so you can see it. I've got it rigged on a weighted weedless hook, which does a couple of things. I like the way it swims with that weedless hook on there in general, but also it keeps it weedless. There's a lot of little algae blooms going on this time of year when the water gets clear and cold, and this will keep the grass off of your hook. But it also goes through the oysters when the tide is up a little higher, like it is today. And like I said, I just like the way it swims. But the other way you can do it is just simply by putting it on a 1/4 ounce or 1/8 ounce jig head. This is a saltwater assassin jig head here, again on the sea shad. This color here is called Purple Moon. This has been one of my favorite colors. It's really, probably see the glitter on the bottom there, kind of a green blue glitter and a purple top. Pretty wild looking bait, but I'm telling you what, man, the redfish have been eating the heck out of this thing all winter long for me. The other color I showed you here is called Mississippi Hippie. This is another one that works really great for me year round. Also has quite a bit of glitter, kind of goldish greenish glitter. Looks very similar to like one of our mud minnows, or even a mullet, or even a shrimp, I guess it could be. But I like a lot of glitter in my baits, and those two are my favorites for this time of year when we're sight fishing. I will say that sometimes if the water's really clear and it's sunny and you can really see into the water, I will use either a white or a chartreuse, just so I can see the bait from the poling platform and kind of instruct my angler where the bait should be in relation to the fish, but that's more for me up there on the platform and guiding. In general, I'm using either this one or the Purple Moon color, and having a lot of success. Also, other than the redfish right now, trout bite has really started to pick up as things warm up a little bit more and we head into spring. I think it's only going to get better for the trout. Right now there's a lot of 16 to 17 inch trout around, with a lot of those fish coming from the creeks. If you can find a deeper creek bend with an oyster bar and a little moving water, especially on the last couple hours of the outgoing tide, you're going to find some trout in there right now. Now, my technique to catch those trout, if you're not using a live bait, this is this 1/4 ounce jig head and the sea shad from Saltwater Assassin. Throw that out, let it sink, give it a couple of jigs, let it sink again, a couple of jigs, let it sink. Depending on how deep it is, let it sink a little longer or a little less. But that's gonna be a trout killer right now. Been catching a lot of smaller trout, but as spring approaches, over the next couple of months, this is gator trout time for me, for us here in the Northeast region in Florida. A lot of big trout. I've been seeing a lot of big trout up shallow around these redfish schools. They're not really chewing yet, but I'm excited for what's to come over the next couple of months. We catch a lot of them on top waters as well if the tide's high early, but really on that outgoing tide, throwing a paddle tail is gonna be the way to go. We also catch a lot of big trout using select live shrimp under a cork or just free line. That's also a great way to catch them this time of year. And speaking of live shrimp or dead shrimp, also over the next couple of months, the black drum bite's gonna start to pick up. That's a really great fish, one of my favorite fish to eat and to catch because they're readily available. You can catch them on dead shrimp, catch them on fiddler crabs. I prefer to use live shrimp most of the time for those guys. But also going to be fishing the creek holes on the last of the outgoing, first of the incoming tide, the edges of the intercoastal throughout the entire region here, along the edges of any oyster bar. If you're going down the intercoastal and you see an oyster bar right on the edge of the intercoastal and it's got a somewhat of a steep drop off, that's going to be a great place to find those drum. They love to be around shell bottom. It's going to hold the shrimp and the crabs and stuff that they eat. And a live shrimp, on a 1/4 ounce jig head, or even a dead piece of shrimp or a fiddler crab, that's going to work really well for those black drum. And last thing, sheepshead bite has been good pretty much all winter like it usually is. Not really my thing. I don't do a whole lot of sheepshead fishing, but some of my buddies and some other guides that I've talked to have been doing well on those guys around the slack tides. I know a couple of big ones were caught here in the last couple of days at the St. Augustine Inlet. A friend of mine, he likes to use pieces of blue crab on a little tiny mosquito hook. I think it's a 1/0 or maybe just a number 1 mosquito hook on a fish finder rig. But he's been catching some big sheepshead there at the rocks at St. Augustine Inlet. I know the guys up in Mayport are doing the same. But pretty much right now you can go to any bridge or piling and find some sheepshead hanging out. If you get real serious about it, you can do some chumming by scraping some barnacles. But that bite will probably continue to be good as we go through the spring. But again, just lots of good stuff happening, man. I cannot wait for the weather and the fishing we have coming up. And we also have the TV show started in April, so be sure to tune in for that. Go to all of our social media outlets, FloridaInsiderFishingReport.com will lead you to all that stuff, and get out there and catch them up. We got some beautiful weather and some great fishing coming up.